WarsawJS.
Okay, so this is my name. So this is what I go by. This is what my parents gave me, so I didn't really have a choice. I could probably change it, but I don't like paperwork. I really hate paperwork, so like taxes and all that stuff. I just really save it for the last minute. So I'm just going to keep the name the way it is. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm afraid I have a lot of followers, but I think they're all zombies. Because sometimes I post something interesting, at least kind of interesting or whatever, you know, and like zero interaction. So they must be zombies. But you know, better to have zombies than nothing, I guess. Anyway, so let's continue. And I'm trying to use this too. I think the clicker's not connected, so I'll just use my little arrows here. Okay, so this general idea here is, and I gave like a lightning talk before, and somebody encouraged me to make this a longer talk. That's what I did. We all use technology on a regular basis. I use it all the time. I use still a lot of the technology that I use is not mobile, it's desktop. So I'm from that era. I know a lot of people are pretty much running their entire business on their smart device, just walking around on the beach in I don't know, in somewhere. Apparently that's all you do, just click a couple buttons on the beach on your smartphone and you're a startup founder. So. But I do use a desktop browser, and in a desktop browser, there's some extra sort of power that we have that we can start to fight some of these forces that are existing in our browser, which are developed by very talented, very skilled people. But the whole purpose, really, in a lot of places and a lot of times, is to kind of suck that money out of your pocket. So. And your attention and all this other stuff, and it's addicting, and there's all this kind of bad stuff around it. So what I was thinking to myself was, what can we do, like as individuals, like as a self-defense against really effective marketing and other sort of dark patterns and things like that? I wish I could do a whole talk about dark patterns, but I'm not an expert on it. But to really quickly get into it, it's just essentially a way that people design the user experience to sort of get you to do what they want you to do. So even if you want to go and buy a pound of tomatoes, right, or a kilo of tomatoes, that's what you want to do. They're going to try to sell you an airline ticket. They're going to try to say, maybe you'd like some bubble gum. Maybe you'd like a little movie pass. Maybe you'd like upgrade those tomatoes to a small 2-bedroom apartment in New York. How about that? How about that little right down there? So we're not just talking about ad blocking, though. We're talking about stuff that's a little bit more close to the bone of the soul of the person, which is stuff that kind of looks like content, looks innocent enough, but it's just an article that is, at the end of the day, it's really just selling you something as well. So it's like content marketing. So it's like all over the place. We're just completely surrounded by this. And again, I'm, preaching to the choir here. Obviously, we're all very in favor of this idea here. So the original inspiration for this, I'm sure a lot of people use Twitter. I use it kind of a lot. I'm playing a game, actually, just real quick, I'll tell you, I'm playing a game on Twitter right now. It's called, Can I Get Elon Musk to Respond to One of My Tweets? So far, I have not successfully won this game. It's really a 0-1 sort of a binary game. So you either have won it, and you can stop playing, or you haven't won it. And I'm afraid I still haven't won it, so I'm trying. But one thing I like about Twitter is they've got this feature. You've probably seen this, I'm sure. It allows you to pretty much mute anytime somebody uses a word you don't like. So like, let's say technology or something just irritates you. Kubernetes, like something that you just can't stand hearing about. JavaScript, some people, right? What this does is throughout the entire site, as far as I understand this is how this works, is you will just not see that content. You just won't see it. So what I use this for, sometimes there's things on Twitter that sort of appear in like a huge storm of activity. Like, for example, I don't know, somebody will say like, has anyone had this experience? Were you like at a cafe and something, something, something? So I'm just like, has anyone had this experience? And I just don't see any of those posts. So if you're using has anyone had that experience, I probably won't see any of your content. So this got me thinking a little bit. I was like, that's kind of cool in a certain way. Like it allows me to kind of, define what I want to be exposed to, right? But it's on Twitter, and I'm sure it's on a lot of other places. But from my perspective, it's on Twitter. It's most easiest to approach there. So Chrome extensions is really what we're talking about here in a very, very basic, simple way. What Chrome extensions allow you to do, or browser extensions in general, and this is an old topic again, is it allows you personally to interact directly with that content that's been created by those professionals and kind of say, yeah, actually, I don't want that. I don't want that. I want to see that. I want to change this. I want to change this. I want to do whatever I want to do because it's my browser in my computer, so you can't mess with me there. Now, the problem is, of course, with mobile devices, what's so great about them is when you have that mobile app, the app developers have you locked in, right? There's not, what are you going to do with a mobile app? You're going to do an extension to what? You can't do this stuff. This is why I like browsers. I hope browsers stay around for a while. So this is sort of the process that I go through when I'm creating an extension. First of all, you want to identify problems. So the problem isn't Netflix itself, perhaps, although their content has been kind of declining in quality lately. But the problem I identified was very often I'll start watching something on Netflix and then realize it's horrible. And then I'll go to something else and it just continues like for an entire day. I'm just like, there's nothing left here. So what I want to do is actually, I just want to see the good stuff. And then when there's no more good stuff, I just want to end my membership. Boom, there we go, profits through the ceiling for that company. So first of all, you do a manual approach. So there's this site called Rotten Tomatoes. It's, I don't know if it's good, I don't know if it's bad, but I use it, it's my metric. So I go to Rotten Tomatoes and I say, okay, that movie sucks. So I don't want to watch it. So I'm going to take action, right? I'm not going to watch Along Came a Spider. Flight doesn't even have a rating on there for some reason. I'll watch Collateral. I've seen it. It's pretty good. You know, it's got some action. So that's what I want to be doing. So then we want to brainstorm some kind of an automation solution. So really simple. The user visits the site. We get some rankings of movies via an API, I guess. Modify the CSS to hide low-ranking content. So this is like super simple approach here. If the movie is in the list, and in the list it says it's a bad movie, just don't show it, and you can keep scrolling, okay? And I hit the next button. Just everybody calm down here, please. Okay, right. So one thing you want to do, again, this is for beginners, I think, really, because you advanced people out there are going to be just like, yeah, right, I'm going to do this totally differently. But this is how I do it. I go in the source. You just do a Control-Shift-I. That'll bring up the little developer toolbar here, whatever it's called. And this is all that cool code that's behind that they don't want you to see. They don't want you to see the secrets back there, right? And so these are divs. We can get into that some other day. But here you got your area label, or Araya, or whatever. I don't care. Well, Araya label, let's call it that. Like Araya Carey, right? Okay, so this is Dave Chappelle. What's in a name? So that's over here. That corresponds with this right there. And so that's that element that corresponds with that movie. So I can start looking at that and thinking, okay, how can I interact with this? What can I do here? So the first thing I do is I write some really advanced JavaScript here. And probably a lot of bad practices in this talk, so just don't worry about it. Tell me later. Thumbnails equals document query selector all. And what I'm trying to do here is do some crazy magic here with wildcards, but I'm confusing, I think, Python and JavaScript. So that results in a node list, which is totally empty. An empty node list, which means I have no elements, which means this isn't going to work. So I have to Google. I have to Google the answer. I go and oh, that's what I'm missing, the little caret, I guess. I'm missing that, okay. And I was like, oh, man. Okay, so I missed the caret, so I put the caret in there. Whoa, look at that. I get a bunch of thumbnails right there, all the thumbnails I want. So I updated my code. I added a little caret there that lets me get all the stuff that's called title card. And so now I'm thinking, okay, I've got a bunch of movies. What do I want to do? So for every movie thumbnail, pass movie title to a function that returns 0 or 1. So 0 if a movie is low rated, less than 50%. 1 if a movie is highly rated, greater than 50%. Yeah, sounds great. Okay. So here's the problem with this idea. I don't have an API. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, of course, I'm going to manually copy just enough data from a movie review site to be able to demo a solution. And I'm going to write a function like this. Again, horrible, don't write code like this. But make believe that this is your little database. And it's got your movie ratings, you got your movie title, you got your rating. And this function is beyond belief. It's really simple here and probably horrible. But anyway, function get rank, you got your thumbnail, which is that element. And then it's going to get the movie title, the movie rank, it's going to return the movie rank. And then you're going to be able to act on that and hide or do whatever you want. So the idea is that you have Netflix, but you just don't see the stuff that you don't probably want to see, okay? The reason I do it like this, a lot of people say, at the last of the lightning talk, like, why do you hide it? Why don't you do something nice and beautiful and, make it look like just have the elements slide over? Because I don't want you to be ignorant. I want you to know, like, Netflix really sucks today. Half the screen is hidden. What's going on here? Netflix, buddy. Maybe I should cancel my thing. Thank you. So it gives you some feedback. That movie was 32%, so it was slashed. So what you want to do next is you want to go ahead and convert that puppy into an extension. First of all, create a manifest. You have to create a manifest. It's just pretty much you can copy paste this like crazy. The key part here is though you want to have a script.js file. So basically that's just those little snippets of code that we had before. You want to add that there to your JavaScript. To your manifest.js. Next thing you do, all you do to have your Chrome extension is you just load unpacked and you select where your extension is, where your JSON, your manifest JSON is. Okay. Your extension is now visible. And using this little toggle, this little cute little toggle right here, you can turn it off, right? If you're like, this code is horrible. Oh my God, Marcin wrote it. It's terrible. It's making my computer crash. It's probably mining coins or something. Just disable it. It's fine. And of course, the next step is after that, share your extension. Let other people's computers crash if you want. This is what I got there. So here are some ideas, use cases that I've kind of come up with. Some of these have been created in like 20 lines of JavaScript. Some have not. YouTube, keyword filtering. So this one has been created. You can get this on my GitHub. So basically, it does the same thing for Netflix except for YouTube. There's certain things on YouTube where it's like, make money the cool way, or how to sell a pigeon, or like stuff like, guys, I don't care, really. So that stuff gets hidden away. Google search, URL filtering. You guys are probably saying, well, what's going on? Well, for example, like let's say there's a certain website that anytime you're looking for anything related to programming, that website pops up. They've got articles for every single question you could have. I'm not talking about Stack Overflow. I'm talking about some of the sites that are just really obnoxious and they're always in your results. And frankly, you don't want to see that. So you just do some URL filtering, for example, on Google search. I found that pretty helpful. It just kind of helps me along. It makes my search more efficient. Netflix removing bad movies. LinkedIn. So this is going to be probably requiring some sort of machine learning, maybe some little simple machine learning algorithm here. Because what I want to do is I want to hide annoying topics. It's kind of a very generic idea. What are annoying topics? So it's something where I'd have to probably train this model and say, that's annoying, that's annoying, that's annoying, that's annoying. And you have some of these features already built into some sites. But again, the idea here is that you get to decide what you think is annoying, not what LinkedIn algorithm thinks is annoying. And even if LinkedIn had that, they'd be like, oh, but just take a look at this airplane ticket article. Just take a look at it. Spammy, scammy posts. So if you're on any Facebook groups, all the time there's a post like this, like, seriously, guys? Or they're like looking for somebody to sell pizza for $50 an hour, and they're talking about dollars. They're in Poland. I'm like, what are we talking about? So just hide those. If you use CNN or Fox News or any portal at all, maybe there's something like about, I don't know, Donald Trump, and you're just kind of, you're just sick of hearing of Donald Trump. And you don't want to hear about Donald Trump anymore. So it'll just hide all the Donald Trump stuff, and you won't see it. Yes, I know, there's some bad things to this. Real estate portals, this is an ad blocker, but again, this is like you're looking for a house, and you don't really want a 35-room mansion. You don't need to see that because you're not looking for that. You're not in the market for it. Let's just not waste those clicks. And then this one I created is really simple. It just, again, does what the Twitter blocker does. It just hides posts that are obnoxious. Sometimes Reddit has just, in these waves, they have these posts that just are all over the place, happening over and over, and you're like, I don't really want to see that. I've got other stuff to do. That's my final slide. I don't have any other slides for this next real kind of thing that I want to talk about, which is, there is obviously a dark side to this, right? We can talk about the dark evil side of making Chrome extensions, which is that I'm creating a bubble. I'm creating a bubble, and I'm going to live inside that bubble, and I'll be happy inside that bubble, and then people will be like, hey, Marcin, what's going on, man? Didn't you know, like, there's COVID-27, and the aliens landed, and like Mars is totally half colonized? Like, what? Oh, dude, I keyword bought COVID and Mars, and I didn't know that was happening. I was just in my cave, and I didn't know, just kind of in my cave doing my cave art and JavaScript and stuff, and nobody knew what was happening. So I think there's a big downside to this, but the big upside is you're going to save probably thousands of hours of doom scrolling. It really cuts down on the doom scrolling, because I think what doom scrolling, where that happens, why does that happen? because there's a lot of garbage that sort of sucks you in. You don't even want to look at it, but your brain can't resist. You just keep scrolling and going, and you're there for 3 hours, and your wife leaves you, and all this stuff happens. So you have to balance it out. You don't want to block all the content that's annoying to you, but you also don't want to let some random, team of developers brainwash you in a sense, and empty out all your wallet and all your savings and all this stuff and make dumb decisions or listen to like fake news or other stuff or whatever, So it's kind of like, I like that browsers let us do this. I really have to do some research and figure out a way to do this for Android and for Apple, to make that happen so that any mobile app can be manipulated in this way, so that we can take some control back in our personal lives, in our digital lives. So I guess, can I have any questions? Any questions, I mean? Yeah, sorry. If there's any questions, this would be the time. Okay, question back there, thank you. Microphone? Microphone for this gentleman would be great.
Delivering it with my short legs.
Let's go back here.
Very interesting whitelisting of the content. What is your expected outcome of the content creators? What do we want to achieve with this extension?
I want people to experience the internet in a way that is more compatible with what they're sort of into, what they want. Like if you don't want to see articles about people camping, because I don't know, maybe your family was murdered while camping, right? Maybe that triggers you and you just don't want to see that. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's just like, I don't want to see that. Maybe you don't eat pork, you don't want to see ads for bacon, right? So there's stuff that it's not just ad blocking, it's filtering of everything that you're exposed to, because maybe there's stuff that just, you need, I don't know, you need therapy for it, and maybe you don't want to see it every 5 minutes on your feed. But you still want to stay online, right? You want to have the, go ahead, yeah.
So, a great talk, and I have a question. You mentioned that you're worried that you might start to live in a bubble of information. Why aren't you worried that we are already living in a bubble of information? Because there's a set of algorithms that compose the feed we are looking at constantly without any extensions.
I agree. And actually, ideally what I would do, I think one of the ways to break out of some of these algorithms maybe is to do some cryptographic random selection of content, right? So like completely random, like totally random. So I found this site, I don't know if it's truly random or not, but it's called like Random YouTube. And it was like, it was actually more, it was really mind-opening, because sure, I saw some really bad content, but then I was like, there's this weird Norwegian singer that I've never heard of, and this song, although it's super dorky, I actually kind of like it. I'm kind of a fan of this song, and then I added it to like my playlist. I'm listening to her album all the time. So I would never have even found her probably if I hadn't done that. So when I did the Random YouTube, I stayed there for a while because I was like, this is such weird, bizarre stuff, but all through the entire like spectrum of content. Spectrum, like I've never even touched parts of the universe of what's out there, right? One thing that, and why YouTube is such an important fact in this conversation is, it's like 300 hours a day, or no, 300 hours an hour or something of content are uploaded to YouTube. Like it's, if you consider the amount of raw human experience that's on the entire like 15 petabyte or 100,000, I don't know how many petabytes, I don't know, zettabytes, whatever it is, of data on YouTube. And because of the algorithm, maybe you're exposed to like this little tiny bit, right? But if there was a way to randomly just grab really bizarre things from all over the place, from the search space, right? So if there was an idea that like, if I'm in the search space here, like this is what YouTube wants me to see, I want to grab stuff like over here, over here, this part, this little corner that nobody ever looks in, right? So I think that's how we should deal with all this content if we want to be free of these bubbles, is randomize all the things, right? Just give me everything that you don't know if I want it or not. Nobody knows, right? One idea to do this would, you'd have to have a couple different profiles across a couple different sites, and just grab content from all these different profiles, do different things on different profiles, randomly, of course, do random searches, do random activities, and then just push it all to you in a random way. So I think it's possible. I think we can do it. If you want to talk about that later, we can talk about that. Any other questions? Oh, wow. Okay, right here. Okay, microphone.
I have a more technical question. So have you tried updating the source code of your extension once someone installed it? So how does it work? If someone installs your extension and then you want to update it, does it automatically do it?
No. Currently, you would just have to download the latest version from.
Okay, I was like thinking, what if like many people install your extension and then you do like mining Bitcoin, you know?
No. I mean, it's all really. I mean, yeah. I guess you could do that with anything, but be careful on GitHub.
Okay.
Yeah. This could be a huge scam just to mine coins. I don't know. Look at the code. Question?
First off, thank you for this presentation. It's just amazing. I love your body language and stuff, and the do-it-yourself kind of attitude. It's amazing. I really appreciate the way you filter stuff, especially with CSS. Just hide it. That's very nice. The first question I have is, what exactly is the flow of this extension usage? Because people can find out about this extension existing. You can download it, of course. But is there some kind of input for them to actually specify what they don't want to see, or is it arbitrary from you?
No, so right now, because it's in like version 0.001, you just have to go into the script.js and there's like just a list of keywords. You know, it's just like Facebook list of keywords, LinkedIn list of keywords. Yeah, it's super simple. But what I'm hoping is that one other person will like install it or use it or even look at it or even after today like be, hey, you know what you should do? You should actually do this. And I'll be like, oh, that's cool. And I'll add that and stuff. And, you know, yeah.
Right. And the second question actually has to do with, because if there was some kind of an input, as per user, per plugin user, you can decide what you want to omit completely. Wouldn't be it like very valuable data? Like, because from what I understand, these services that are trying to grab your attention, they really want to know what you don't want to see. And then you have this plugin, you close in the plugin, you just close your eyes, I don't see you, and that's fine. But in the end, you can filter the content by its keywords, but you cannot filter out intention. Because I think that what pains the most is not necessarily like specific type of kittens that you don't like, or specific cars. You don't like people trying to sell stuff to you?
Yeah, of course.
Right.
I mean, I would like to use an approach where the user could just specify like automobile advertising.
Right.
But the idea was like, I wanted to go beyond ad blockers and talk more about the larger topic of just content in general. Because if someone writes a beautiful Medium article, and actually all the result of the article is that I end up buying PyCharm, it's just an ad. It's an ad. You know? So it's not really just about ad blocking. It's about, like, again, content filtering in a sense that all of us as individuals should have the right to determine what we want to be exposed to. Just have our brain even see that image or see that text. Maybe I don't want to see that. You can't make me see it.
Of course. And it's like a per person basis. And I was thinking that in the end, if the plugin would develop and there will be people who are, notoriously using the plugin, then the companies would be like, hey, man, like, they inputted what they don't like. And we can actually make, on a platform level, the content more appealing to them. So would you consider?
I would, but I mean, I think the idea of this extension was just something that would be developed in a way that's totally just
grassroots.
And it's not that there's no servers. I really want to minimize like the use of APIs and stuff.
Sure.
I want it to be that whatever's happening on your browser is happening on your browser. It's your script that's running there. One of the only issues that I'm concerned about with this is just making it secure. Because right now it's totally like unsecure, it's completely wild. But like I would like to have a really secure way to filter content so that nobody would ever know what you're filtering. And you could just experience the internet as you want to experience it. And like I said, the biggest challenge for me is after this would be looking at, and I think it's impossible, but with mobile, that's kind of it's a huge wall that blocks you from being able to do this. You can't really do that. Once you're in an app like Uber app, what are you going to do? You can't do that. You can't do any of this stuff. So this is kind of one of the really great things about desktop browsing is you have a little bit more power, and I think people have kind of forgotten that. They've kind of given that away to, app developers to, oh, that's fine, I'll just use my mobile app, it's all great. But then actually you're losing a bunch of this awesome stuff that you can do behind the scenes.
Right, I completely agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's amazing, I love the presentation.
Okay, thanks.